Today I want to talk about how there aren't really any rehab exercises and why rehab needs to be challenging and it needs to push you. I also want to talk about the purpose behind some of the exercises that I do and kind of explain how they work, just like these making the down squats. Also, I got a new mic, so hopefully there aren't any hiccups with this one. So to kind of catch up to speed with my rehab, I changed my stance up to a wider stance, and I can go below parallel with that, and it's really comfortable on my knee. So that leads me to doing this exercise. Why am I doing this exercise? Well, I can build up some good capacity, extra capacity than I need when I'm doing the competition lift. So by going lower than I need to in training and just as like a tertiary day, I'm building up that extra capacity because I'm doing this new stance. It's a little less demand on my knee. That slack's going to need to be picked up elsewhere, which is my hips a little bit more. So going lower, I'm building up their capacity for that range of motion so that they have extra, so that when I'm just cutting depth or just hitting depth rather with a lot more weight, it's not also maxing out my range of motion. It's not pushing my capacity in multiple different ways. So this is going to help me with consistency with training because my hips are going to get a little less beat up. I'm going to have a little bit more that I can give, and I'm just not going to be burning out and probably a little bit less likely to get injured. And this ties into a concept I've talked about before in my videos where accessories don't need to be all aimed at just building up your top numbers, just building up your top lifts. Some of them need to be built in so that you can more consistently perform and you can have a better training experience. So these, yes, they are going to have some direct impact on my top lift. We'll get to that later, but they're also going to allow me to train more often, train more consistently, and train more comfortably. Because if I have a lot of extra that I can give and I'm not maxing out with every squat, I'm not going to feel terrible after every squatting session. That caffeine's pumping. I may have had a little bit too much caffeine because I'm absolutely buzzing inside. I'm going to try to keep it calm and not yell at you all. Let's get another set here. This will be the weight that I'm working with for today. That's another bonus with these is I can use a little bit less weight. So it takes a little bit less time and effort to set up and take down. It's not like it's anything like, oh, I'm sparing my body with the weight. I have plenty of capacity for that. More so that it's just easier and less of a barrier to set up and take down. So especially even if I'm a little bit mentally drained, this is my last workout day of the week. If I'm mentally drained by this point, a little bit fatigued, this is nice and easy to just slap on less plates, less plates to put away, helps everything go a little bit quicker. Did I load that right? Nope. It also helps if you load the bar properly. I've been working out for many years, still do it from time to time, so if you ever do that, it happens. It happens to everyone. Yeah, so for this, I'm basically just going to rock bottom, coming out just a bit above parallel. I'm not really too stingy on it. I'm just kind of shooting out of the hole. Again, building up that range of motion capacity. I get a good burn on my quads with this, glutes, adductor magnus as well. Just kind of shooting out of that hole. Starting to get into that hip extension, but it's a lot of that knee extension out of the hole. Yeah, my knee's feeling great with it. I can push it. I can build up some good hypertrophy. So these are amazing. I've done them before with my regular stance with the safety squat bar. And that really helped blow up my quads and my squat because they're really just a lengthened partial. So it's very squat specific and minimal equipment specific. So I don't have a leg extension here. I don't really like the feel of the belt squats as much. This is a really easy thing for me to set up to just push my quads. My form will change a little bit as the set goes on, and that'll change how much my quads are pushing, but if they're reaching fatigue and that's why my form's changing, that's fine. That means I'm pushing them to fatigue. It means I'm getting what I want. So I'm not being super strict with the form. I'm just kind of going until it's feeling like, okay, I'm barely moving within enough of the same form. It does take a little bit getting used to, especially because I'm switching stances. So the beginning, there might be a little bit more variation. Sets being cut a little bit short. But as I get more and more used to it, I can really push it. If you're going down and feeling awful in the hole, this might help you a little bit. One, it'll give you that comfort because you have more range of motion. And two, mentally, you're just going to feel more acclimated to that position. Sure, it's a different weight, but there is some carryover. And it'll help you with hypertrophy and help you get stronger too. So overall, I think it's a great exercise. So this exercise is giving me that extra bit of whatever I need so that I can perform longer, right? It's kind of like a prehab exercise, you could call it. Bit of a buzzword, right? Typically when you see these prehab exercises, it's, oh, these hip airplanes and this and that, and like these super controlled movements. But I almost look at that as the opposite, right? Like, because when you're doing sport and everything, things get more chaotic. So you want your prehab exercises to give you the capacity to handle the chaos and the unpredictable and that extra, right? So it's a little bit more about understanding, okay, what can this exercise give me? What do I need from my exercises? And then, okay, what exercises should I use, right? It's not, okay, I'm going to try to be as stable as possible. Those exercises are better used when certain things are aggravating you and you need to limit variables so that you can control things better and work in a more comfortable pain level or a more comfortable effort level. So those exercises, I don't look at them as prehab. I look at them as regressions, right? Those are like, okay, a regular squat's too uncomfortable. Well, maybe we just need to do something on a machine, right? Maybe we need to do something where there's a little bit more constraint. Maybe we need to do something where there's like reverse bands on it. Maybe we need to do something where you're doing less weight with a slower eccentric and then coming up just for like symptom modification. And then as that gets better and as you're keeping things more comfortable and letting your body calm down and still building things up, as that gets better, then you add in chaos. So like when I was doing the pin squats earlier, that was taking chaos out. That's taking so much range out. So it's a lot smaller and more controlled of a movement. That would be a regression. That would be taking things away so that there's less chaos, less variables. That's not going to prepare me for sport that well. That's not going to prepare me for a full depth squat all that great. Yeah, I can push the muscles still. That's a comfortable way to push the muscles and build muscles. That's great. But that's not really going to prepare me for a full depth squat. Going for a full depth squat is going to prepare me for a full depth squat. Going beyond that is going to prepare me even more in case I accidentally miss depth and go a little bit far. In case I'm out of position a little bit and need to recover. I need to prepare my body for those. That's why I do things like the side bends and the heavy twists and everything and load them up, right? Prepare your body for the demands it might face. Not just the demands it's always going to face, but the demands it might face. You need to prepare for the unexpected a little bit. The more prepared you are, the better that prehab is, and the better you're going to perform, and the longer and more comfortable you're going to be able to perform for. And that consistency, that length, that's what's going to get you farther in sport. That's what's going to get you stronger. That's what's going to get you lifting more. Don't think about 8 weeks from now. Think about 8 years from now, right? That's the mindset you really need with strength sports. That's the mindset you really need with any sport. Is not right now, not the next competition that's coming up, but okay, how am I tracking? How am I improving? Did I improve at this next competition? Awesome. I'm going to keep grinding away. Just needs to be a small improvement, and I need to look forward years in advance. It's not right now. It's not the next thing coming up. It's the thing 10, 15 things after that. So understanding that a little bit better will also help you with your mindset when it comes to training and understanding that, hey, if things aren't going well, it gets you out of that headspace of, oh, everything's over. It's all over. I'm done. I had 2 bad sessions in a row. My lifting career's over. That's 2 sessions out of 10,000 that you're going to have by the end of it. It means dick all, right? Suck it up. Do what you can do. Move on. And then keep plugging away and you'll get better. If you put everything on that each session, if you put everything on the now, never think about the future, you're never going to make it far. you're not gonna do all that well, right? Get out of the now. Stop being so emotionally reactive to it. Understand the purpose. Like with these, I'm not worried too much about how each set is going. I'm not too worried about like how each squat session is going. It's like, okay, I'm building up the capacity for it. Am I there yet with everything I want to be? No, but I just kind of keep plugging away, and it'll be there eventually. That's the key. Just keep going. That effort is another good example of pushing hard during rehab. I've already said in this series, find something that's comfortable that you can do so that your symptoms aren't going crazy, and then push it. If your practitioner is not getting you to push something, they suck, dude. They're awful. Leave. Don't go to another appointment with them. They're bad. They need to be pushing you, and they need to look at you as you, a whole person, a whole athlete, not just that body part. Not just about getting my knee better. It's about keeping me strong in bench. It's about keeping me strong in deadlift. It's about preparing me as best as possible. Every single muscle group as best as possible, so that when I am fully back to squatting and my knee is fully better, I'm not at more injury risk for something else. I'm not way weaker than I was before. I'm coming back just as strong or stronger in my other lifts. I may even have a higher potential for my squat because maybe my quads are actually stronger now, or at least bigger, because I found ways to push them comfortably. All right, so find something you can do, push it. Sure, there's certain constraints every now and then, but you need to push things. It's like a great example is any endurance sport athlete. The rehab just becomes about that one body part, and their endurance becomes terrible. You need to find ways to still push your cardio, even for powerlifting too. Don't let your cardio go to crap. Any strength sport, don't let your cardio go to crap, right? Like keep pushing it. Keep every system as close to prime and the top as possible during your rehab. And your clinician should be looking out for that. They shouldn't just be focused on one body part. They should be focused on you. Not just your knee, not just your shoulder, not just your ankle. You. Everything, right? The physical, the mental, how ready are you feeling? That's one of the biggest predictors of success and return from injury, is how confident you are in your body and how ready you are to compete again. That all needs to be addressed in rehab. It's not just the body part, it's every single bit of you. And not enough clinicians do it. A lot of clinicians suck. They're really bad. And I have no more patience left to say it, but I get so many patients that come to me, and their rehab before was just like TENS, a little bit of massage, a little bit of cream, clamshells, hip airplanes, just very low load exercise or like pain relief modalities, right? Passive modalities. They don't do anything to prepare them for the sport, and then they come to me and it's like, oh yeah, I've had this knee injury, comes back every 3 months, and I haven't really been able to lift for a year and a half all that well because it keeps coming back. Why does it keep coming back? Because the professional, strong quotes on that, they are not preparing you to return to your sport. They're just band-aiding your pain until your natural history occurs. Your body takes care of things and it heals up and that pain goes away. But then you're detrained. You're not ready to go back to the weights you were before, and you try to go back into them. And then now you're training at max capacity, and then you're screwed. So, find better clinicians. Be armed with knowledge so that you can find better clinicians, I guess. That's one thing that I really want to do with my videos, and one thing that I really want to do with all my posts and messages is just arm you with knowledge that you know what good rehab is, you know what good care is, you know what good treatment is, and you know what bad care and bad rehab and bad treatment is, so that you can call it out when it's brought forward to you, right? And you can be like, well, no, this is bad. I'm not going to go see them. I'm going to go find someone else that can do this, right? Advocate for your own health, advocate for your own progress, and you do that by knowing better. So hopefully this is helpful. That was the last set of the Megan Thee Stallion squats. Got a good quad burn with that. Glutes, all right. Adductors, all right. It was smoking my quads, so I know that I really need to bring up my quad strength, and this is going to be huge for that. Comfortable on my knee. A couple reps felt like 1 to 2 out of 10 pain, so like very much green zone. So it's like awesome. I can really push this exercise, like no holds barred. Like green zone's your go zone, just do it. So that's what I'm doing with this. I responded really well to the squats from Tuesday and Thursday, especially Thursday. Like Thursday night, I felt great. Yesterday, I felt amazing, which was Friday. This is probably not going to come out on a Saturday, but yeah, so I felt great on the Friday. So shows that I'm recovering from this session as well, and what I'm doing is very well managed by my body, so I can keep pushing it. I can keep progressing. I don't have to be too worried about it, but still kind of, I'm still in that like conservative in terms of pain part of my training, just so that it really calms down, so that when it is crunch time, 6 weeks out from meet, I can really push. And if pain does ramp up a little bit for a meet, I can push through it a little bit extra. I can put some pain reliever cream on. I can take a Tylenol or something if I need to compete on meet day. But I want to give myself the best opportunity to not need to do that. And it's about, you know, being patient now, being smart now, so that I can push later. So not pushing too much now, so that I still have something in the tank later. And it can go like that in the workout too, right? Don't push too hard on your top sets or your first couple sets. Sometimes if you have a whole workout planned and there's other goals that you need to accomplish in your workout, and those top sets are just about getting some exposure to some moderately heavy weight. Sometimes top sets are going to be like the main focus of the workout and you need to go all out on them. Sometimes they're just there to keep you acclimated to some heavier weight and give you practice with that weight, and then you build up more muscle and strength in the rest of the session with the rest of the movements. So just about being a little bit smarter with your training. All exercise is just made up. The sooner that's understood, the better. And that means that there's no such thing as a rehab exercise, right? Exercises are just movements that target certain muscles or certain movements. And then they're rehab exercises when they are serving a certain purpose. So even a regular exercise can be a rehab exercise. Serving a certain purpose to get you back to your performance, right? They can still increase performance. They should still be increasing performance. But it means that like clamshells, hip airplanes, banded monster walks, squats with band around knees, those are not rehab exercises. They're just exercises. They can serve a purpose, right? They can have benefit. Some exercises might be better or more targeted or more regressed. So you know when to use them. You just have to know when to put each exercise in. What's your current level? So the biggest factors when it comes to rehab and like rehab exercises is where are you at? Where's your capabilities? What are your goals? Okay, so now you know, okay, you're at this level. Your goal is to get to here. How do we regress this or work certain parts of this that are manageable for you here, right? Squat. Can't bend past 90. Okay, work above 90. If we change the stance, can bend a little bit past 90. Awesome, let's change stance and work that so that we can at least be squatting. So we're almost like jumping up to here a little bit, while we still kind of do other things to work the regular stance as well. And then at a certain point, it becomes, okay, which stance do you choose? So you've still been getting exposure to heavier weights and the squatting pattern, And now you're better here, and now you're up at this level. And it's like, hey, which one's better? Oh, your regular stance is still better. And now it's not coming in at here, but it's coming in up here because you've been doing this. So understanding when an exercise should be used, how it can be used, and why it needs to be used is more important. And that's what makes a rehab exercise, not any specific exercise. There's nothing magical about any exercise. No exercise is a rehab exercise. No exercise is a performance exercise. They're all exercises. They're all made up to just target certain muscles or certain movements. So you can just break those down, target the components, and then slowly integrate them back into the goal exercise. Boom, that's rehab. Any exercise can be used. It's so simple, but it's all marketing to sell stuff. So if these people hold the answers, and it's these special exercises, and they need to be taught in a certain way and done in a certain way, and it becomes something that they can sell. But that's not the case, right? People get taught that and they believe it strongly. So sometimes it's not even them just being sinister with it, but they just don't know better, which is a huge problem. And you get a lot of people that are now in the rehab industry that don't think and don't understand what an exercise really is. They don't understand that exercise is just made up and is used to just target certain areas or certain movements. Like anything can be done for an exercise. Anything can be done as rehab. It's really simple. I know I haven't done tons yet, and I've been yapping a lot, but I've been feeling like good work. Like those squats, I pushed hard. These RDLs, I'm pushing decently hard, and my glutes, hamstrings, mostly like adductor magnus, are like really feeling it. So that's good. I'll have to really strengthen them up because that new stance might nerf my deadlift a little bit more then. So just need to build extra strength in them. Get them extra thick and juicy, you know? Soon I'll be walking around with a wagon that leaves the room 5 minutes after I do. So that's the goal. Hopefully I can keep it up and keep building. Okay, let's rip it. Also, if you need a song to help you get pumped up, Sun Killer by Spirit Box. Oh yeah, especially the ending. Oh, thick and juicy. I like that bottom half for them. That was good stretch, good pump. Yeah, I feel like if I had better breath and didn't just let out a thick and juicy in the middle of it, might have been able to get a few more reps. I'm also debating holding a side bend challenge, just like Alec Blennis did, just completely ripping them off, like almost 100%, but doing it where you have to do one side and then the other. I can't pay out as much as him. I'm also Canadian, so the payout is going to be smaller just because of currency. But If any of you think that's a good idea and you're still around watching right now, let me know in the comments. I'm also probably gonna shoot him a message, ask him how if he's all right with it. I'm sure he will be. He's a really nice guy. But yeah, just blatantly ripping him off with the side bend challenge. But I think it would be a lot of fun. So for those of you watching the video, and if you want to get in on it, start training your side bends a little bit more in prep for it. Be smart with ramping up your volume on them, but yeah, if you don't have other priorities, you could toss them up in your priority list a little bit, have some fun with it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So we'll see. I got to get all the logistics of it worked out. If I do it, I'll probably, if I do it, I'll probably make a reference to it in a video as well. So keep your eyes and ears peeled. Also, if you're trying to increase your flexibility, this is a way to do it. Oh man, that was feeling good. Also, another tip for getting full range with these, I forgot where my camera was. Another tip for getting full range with these is that when you're at the bottom, you need to let your arms really relax forward. So you can't be, got some pelvic crack going. So you can't be too locked in with your lats. You need to let them like roll forward, let your arm come up, let your shoulder blades really kind of separate. You'll feel good stretching your upper back. Sometimes when you get a couple cavitations in your T-spine, that's normal, don't be afraid. And you need to be okay with tickling your face. Like a lot of time I know my fingers end up like on the bridge of my nose. That time I tuck my face a little bit more, my hands are just resting on my forehead. Like you need to that's kind of the position you need to get in so that you're folding down and facing the ground with like the top of your head. Let your elbows point at the ground, otherwise it's gonna roll out of your forearms. Even when you're doing regular exerts or deadlifts too. You need to be in a position so that your elbows are pointing the ground. If you tuck in too much, if you bring it in too soon and you're not letting your body come up before you're bringing it in, then it's gonna roll. Little technique tip. I know I've been having a good workout because when I went to adjust the bar in the back here, I had to bend forward and my hamstrings, glutes, and low back just were shaking like crazy. It was difficult to even control my own body weight, so means I'm pushing the muscles great. Trying a new setup for my Nordic curls here, not the bench, so that I can actually bend at the hips and let my chest fall forward, get a little bit better length on the hamstrings. Experimenting, I set up every tension and band we have so I can try different combinations and see what feels best. Oh, got to make sure not to let go and whip myself in the face with those too. Yeah, that's a much better stretch on the hamstrings. Better work. I like those more than the regular Nordics because regular Nordics is a very shortened muscle length with being extended at the hips. Yeah, I'm getting better by just doing the bottom half with it, and that's where gravity is the most powerful. But if I can sway that so that it's a little bit more lengthened, then I'm going to get more out of the exercise. So I like this setup. It's pretty good. It's also easier to move this box than the bench, I find too, because this box is nice and light. It's squishy, so it's soft on the knees. So when my knee is pissed off, it's comfortable. Also, I can use that with clients when their knees are pissed off. Now I'm thinking more about that. I could get them to do this exercise if they have tender knee from tendinopathy with the box, better than the blue pad on the bench, easier setup and actually more comfortable altogether. There we go, just like that. Now I have another rehab exercise I can use, another modification I can make. Awesome. Yeah, those Nordic curls are way better than the way I've done them in the past. My hamstrings are pumped. They're tired. My legs were like almost giving out on me just as I was walking. Yeah, it's a lot more like sitting, doing at least a seated hamstring curl. Not quite like seated and leaning forward, but like seated and leaning back a little bit. And one day I'll have hamstrings strong enough to just do that without a band. And when I do that, I'll deadlift 900 pounds. But yeah, that was amazing. So pumped about that. If you can always find a way to make an exercise give you a little bit more range of motion, a little bit better tension on the muscle, you know, and like push you just to that next level, like get creative and do it. Like there's plenty of ways you can do it. Adding blocks, like that, bands or support to just help you get a little bit further so that you can like more effectively load a lengthened range if the exercise becomes way too hard at the lengthened portion, and then just hang out there. It's amazing. Standing on blocks, right? Make deficit deadlifts, things like that. Just knowing when to use it and why you're using it, and how to use it so that you can program it appropriately. It's amazing. But I love figuring that stuff out. It's awesome, and it's helped my training a lot. Like especially those Megan Thee Stallion squats have been phenomenal. Like I said before, doing it with my regular stance or like the safety squat bar with my regular stance, it blew up my quads. Sadly, the lunge incident blew up my knee, but that's what happens when you're having fun sometimes. You know, that's it was a lot of fun. It gives me content to make, so that's perfect. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to absolutely blowing up my squat with those again, and squatting more than 225 at my next meet, and really blowing my total up. Things are looking good. Training's going well. Just got to keep working. My core's a little fried from yesterday, and those Zercher RDLs, so 100 on side bends is feeling tough. This is good. So intent with these is to be trying to pull like a behind the neck pull up, behind the head pull up. These have actually been making my overhead feel much better. So I'm doing them more to prep for when I need to kind of increase get back into doing Olympic lifts again. My overhead's going to be much more comfortable and just make that a lot better, right? Make that transition a lot easier, prep me more. Not doing them right now just because focusing more on getting the knee feeling great, as well as prepping for my powerlifting meet, and then just general physical preparedness kind of stuff. So if I just build up a lot of strength, I can transition that into my Olympic list, no problem. Not looking to put any amazing total up in Olympic lifts in the near future anyway, so don't have to worry about pushing them too hard. I can easily transition them in when I want to or when I need to. But that's kind of the purpose and reason why I'm doing them on the neck. I also have been loving how they feel, just loving how they're hitting my back. So feels great. That's another reason why, just liking it. Sometimes that's really what you need. Keeps you going, keeps you consistent. It's going to get me stronger in certain areas. Is it the most efficient way for all my goals? Maybe not, but it's something that I like doing and can consistently do. So I'm going to do it, and that's going to get me the gains. Okay. So I'm just resting about a minute and a half between exercises and maybe 30 seconds between sides, maybe even less than that between sides. Just kind of catching my breath, just kind of putting in the work right now, getting decent pump. Again, these are like end of the session, still putting in really good effort, but I'm not too like meticulous about everything. Sometimes it's just, do your work. There's studies showing like, hey, if you rest longer, that's better for strength and hypertrophy. But if you just do more work in that same amount of time, you get like comparable results that are pretty much the same. So especially when it comes to hypertrophy, strength a little bit less, but the data is not all that strong on it. So, sometimes it's just put in the work the way that you can. Don't worry about it. Again, don't over optimize. Over optimizing is going to kill your gains. So just do what you got to do. Again, rehab needs to be hard, and I hope my knee rehab and my squat rehab is a great example of that. Find what you can do and push it. If the practitioner you're seeing is afraid to load you, then they don't understand what they need to do. They're not helping you. You need to find someone who will push you and will get you ready to compete again, who will get you ready to perform again, even if it's just daily life tasks too. Your rehab needs to be harder than your daily life tasks. I have multiple patients who are coming to me after hip replacements, knee replacements, hip OA, knee OA, and they struggle with daily tasks. So when I'm treating them, I'm getting them to do things in here that are harder than anything they would face outside, and they get amazing results. I've had patients who come in with bilateral knee replacements who couldn't even squat below parallel body weight. And now I have them squatting below parallel with 100 pounds or more. And then they come to me and they say, hey, I was able to climb the stairs without pain. I was able to step up onto a high ladder and fix something on my ceiling. People with shoulder problems were like, hey, I was able to hold a light and fix it, and it took me 10 minutes. I didn't have any pain. And that's because I got them exercising in those positions. I got them to push their bodies harder than daily life was pushing them. And it wasn't the fact that they had OA or these replacements or X, Y, and Z that was causing them pain. It was the fact that those pain points then got them to stop moving, which caused them to decondition. And now life, anytime they get up from a chair, oh, that's a 1 rep max squat. That's miserable. That's hard. So I had to make it so that we started off easier than that and then progressed way past that. Doing a box squat with a safety squat bar, 58 pounds. Then doing a regular squat with weight. Doing a regular squat below parallel with the safety squat bar, right? It's about finding that entry point and then progressing it. Any exercise can be a rehab exercise, and any exercise should be a rehab exercise. You just need to scale it appropriately, and then you need to work hard. And rehab should be pushing the patients. They can achieve a lot. You can achieve a lot. You just need to actually be pushed. So that's kind of what I'm going to leave off with here. I hope this was helpful. Thanks again for watching. Now go out there and make some gains.